FCTV. Happy anniversary, FCTV. Happy 30th anniversary, my friends at FCTV. Happy anniversary and many, many more. Happy anniversary. Celebrating all month. Good evening, friends. Welcome to FCTV's Poetic License, May 2023. This is a virtual open mic where we share live original poetry, prose, comedy, and acoustic music. My name is Donna Shear, and tonight's theme still is recovery. Thank you so much, Tony Sedair, for producing our show. And a shout out to Queen for helping get the show ready this past month. This will be our final show recorded via Zoom because starting in June, we go live at FCTV's beautiful Dillingham Avenue studios. I can't believe it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Thank you, FCTV, for always providing high quality broadcasting, events, and classes. For example, it's happening again. The summer vacation animation camp. There's going to be 3 sessions in making short animated videos for children ages 6 to 12. The sessions begin July 17th. You can get more details and sign up at fctv.org. You know, FCTV offers quite a few free classes in video filming, lighting, planning, editing, production. Oh my gosh, so much good comes from our nonprofit organization. There's collaborations, there's classes, live events, Falmouth in Focus, town meetings, local sports, cooking, public affairs, art, and much, much more. Whoa! FCTV would certainly appreciate your support because of all the wonderful things that they do. And one way you can do this is by joining FCTV through a membership. Keep in mind, a single membership is still only $30. So we hope to hear from you. Hello, performers. Oh my gosh, I am so happy to see you. Here you are, ready and willing to inform and delight us with your creative shares. So when I read your name, unmute your mic. Please repeat your name. 4-minute time limit, and duos combine both their times into one thrilling performance. I'm going to start us off. Again, my name is Donna Shear. I recently lost an artistic and kind-hearted friend to her final bout with cancer. She taught me so much about how to recover from extreme difficulties. My poem, Scarlet Fever, is based on her early memory and the silver lining wisdom from her mother. Scarlet Fever for Kathleen Engeman Hall. Warning, yellow banners unfurl street side. A sign shouts from the window, quarantine. No front door visiting allowed, not milkman, mailman, school friends, nor family. Only you and mother echoing in an empty house. But every week, parked curbside, your siblings wave wildly from the car's open windows. Father delivers a box of groceries to the stoop. Tucked between ginger ale and chicken noodle soup, the latest Highlights magazine. A welcome comestible for your 6-year-old mind, hungrier than your body. Time, the steady drip drip of life delivers a deluge of quiet pursuits. Despite your sensitive eyes, Mother teaches you to see truthfully, and to paint the line and contour of objects. Perspective tricking the eye into three-dimensional belief. Never bored, you blossom into an artist, prepared by the good and the bad and the solitary. You and your paintbrush will forever be company. And his mother says, look where the sun shines in your paintings, and you'll understand where the shadows also fall. So that's for my friend Kathy. Okay. Well, let's see. Let me get my roster out. And we're looking at the first friend, Patricia Austin. Hello, Patricia. How are you, my dear?
Hello, Donna, and it's so good to see you and everybody. So glad to see Tony. Normally, I would do a poem or a poesy, a poetical essay, but this is neither. In thinking about the idea of recovery, I couldn't help but think, recovery from what? And I think in a way, we're in a position where we're not really sure where we've come from anymore. And so I have a story. This story is called The One Who Lived. The 1940s began submerged in fear by the declaration of a new world war. Most alive eventually hardening into solid resolve. They did or didn't understand the stakes, but understood the necessity of commonality and collective acceptance, congealing aim and purpose. The unlikely soldier, whose life had lately been of seminary, studying to be a Catholic priest, moved himself into the moment of a different decision, deciding instead to seek the hand of the brilliant young Irish German Catholic woman who intrigued him to his very core. She also beat the odds, having been told all her life that her purpose on this earth was either to become a nun or stay at home and support her aging parents. She defiantly accepted his proposal. The newly bride and groom, living amidst the towering picture of their era, became the willing, determined soldier, and his woman waiting on the shore. He was brilliant, able to crack military messages and code. He was an athlete, a consummate skier. And because both these capacities were so hard to find, he was assigned to tracking enemy troop movements in the icy North Atlantic. It was a suicide mission. There was no expectation of being rescued. The team of soldiers accepted no possibility, aware that their efforts could make the difference between victory or defeat. The outside world was not allowed to know. And so the woman on the shore prayed and waited and prayed. But the war came to an end, and a rescue boat was dispatched. Heading back to base camp through the frigid North Atlantic, a lone enemy submarine crewed by disgruntled sailors in denial that they had lost the war decided to go out in glory and torpedoed the rescue ship, causing it to sink. The back end of the boat tipped completely into the freezing water, and the front end rose into the sky as if a mocking monument to irony. Many of the crew jumped off the ship, dying almost immediately upon hitting the untenable cold. Our priestly soldier was not among them. Instead, he and a group of believers made their way to the ship's chapel, intending to celebrate Mass before dying, for they fully expected to go down with the ship. But the mix of forces that cause events, can they ever be explained except in parody of proof? For the ship stopped sinking and indeed stabilized half in and half out of the water. With the engines still working. And with the engines, all right, I'm going to read that again because I've lost myself here. For the ship stopped sinking and indeed stabilized half in and half out of the water with the engines still working. So the remaining crew and passengers embarked on reaching base camp in spite of their apparent impossibility. The tugs and tow barges that came out to meet them with intention of intervening in their arrival stopped in awe. They watched the wreckage sailing on its own steam approach the dock in all its triumphant splendor, as if mimicking the Statue of Liberty brandishing her torch. The small boats rang every bell they had, set off every siren, blew every whistle and horn they had, and every crew member screaming and cheering. It was a joyous metaphor for the end of the war. And then came the boom. The war ended in 1945, and the baby boom began in 1946. The returning soldier and his faithful bride bought a little house through the GI Bill and set about waiting for their coming family. And indeed, they came. First one who faded from existence, then a second and a third, all there and gone in a moment. The medical term is miscarriage. 3 of them, causing the not quite priest and never nun to wonder if they were being punished. The 40s progressed into the 50s. And in 1951, the 4th child was born. A full-fledged baby with all its faculties, although premature, was a perfect little girl. The 4th became the first, upon whom all the hopes and expectations of a war endured could be pinned. The golden girl, the one who lived. Sorry about that. Sorry I lost that in the middle.
That's okay, Patricia. That was a very compelling story. I know you usually do poetry, but you know, there you use poetic choice in your words, your vocabulary. You had a lot of alliteration, really nice alliteration in there. So it was almost like a poem. It was a story poem. And I love the line, the fourth became the first. I knew it was going to be you. That's awesome. Thank you so, so much.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. I think we need to remember, we are here and it's a very strange time, but boy, our parents and the people before us have gone through so much that has really brought us to where we are. And that I think we're tending to forget. So I hope we remember that in our recovery. Thank you.
Hey, Sue Beth Carlson. You, it, do you have any plugs tonight?
Oh, I do actually. If you want to go to Songbird Poets, it's from 3 to 4:30 on June 1st, which is is it next Thursday? I guess it is.
Coming right up.
Yeah. So next Thursday, June 1st, from 3 to 4:30, it's live at Sturgis Library and also on Zoom. And you can email me at salsasusu@aol.com if you'd like to get the link and attend by Zoom. Otherwise, I'll see you at Sturgis. It's actually a multimedia jam. So it's poetry, storytelling, acoustic music, and visual art. Very similar to what we have here. But it's not on Zoom. I mean, it's on Zoom, but it's not on YouTube. Okay, I've got a screen share. And let's see if this, there we go. Let's find it. There. And okay, can you see that? I can't, yeah, you can see it, okay. So this photo was taken by Maria Silverman, who's gonna read some poetry later. And when she sent it to me, it inspired this poem, which is called Turning. America is wind-torn and worn, but do not be forlorn. It is still whole. And unlike the fabric of our soul, we do not stand upon this symbol of our unity flying free. Instead, we support it with a pole, that it may continue whole, and even as it is free to risk the peril of its demise, that it may rise and send its message far and wide, that we may all as one unite to reach across divides, that we may unite not for a brand or taking a stand, but as each tree. Only united can its future be. Branching out in all directions, roots and limbs, buds and seeds, breathe in the future's freshness and sort the weeds. Pack your history's trunk with rings of growth that reach way into the future. And someday, when their growth on earth is done, may they be transformed as was before by sun, now by turning on a lathe into a pole on which to fly our country's soul. And I've got a little song for you now too. I'll just stop this share. This is called Turning Tides. Heal the wall, heal the water, heal the land, heal the hearts in holding hands, hear the ocean, taste the trees, see the wind and feel the breeze, douse the fire to glowing warm and soothe the water's raging storm. Tides are turning day by day, and we can ride them either way. And interestingly enough, oh, thank you. Interestingly enough, I have My next poem is called Our Ship Coming In, Patricia. Because these days I'm thinking of that ship that met an iceberg, and as I hope for another ship in a parallel sea of universal time, I'm reminded of the musicians reveling in the beauty of what their music brings passengers as they each travel toward their watery fate. If it be August or June, I'd still play the tune. Love is the vehicle of any heart, traveling with its fluid inner sea. Its pace is both timeless and forever. Its location is here and now. Yes, the water is warmer in this alternate conclusion, where the sea flows gracefully within us, and we are the living beings who instead carry it to shore. And this last little poem, rather than being due to recent events in England, this was written in 2020 about the creative online response to the isolation from the then new coronavirus in our nation, and the power of connection by way of creative sharing. It's called, oh, wait a minute, I'll be right back. Was this worth the wait? There's my little crown. Without need of coronation, yet having had it, we are all like the butterfly, delicate and beautiful monarchs of our environment, powerfully connecting each to one another and to our earth. I honor the beauty of your wings. They fly across the world as multicolored music. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. That was a very interesting collage of creativity. Oh my gosh. But the most interesting thing about it in general is the fact that you collaborated with someone else. Maria, who we're going to hear from, took the photo and you were inspired to write a poem. And that is such a wonderful thing. You know, too often writers are working by themselves, and we're fortunate we have Poetic license to share and Songbird, things like that. But I like the image of the flag, tattered as it was. Somehow that's how I feel about the flag right now, in that it used to unite everyone so well and so easily, but turning tides, rings of growth. There we go.
Yeah, I guess that was my point, was that we have choices we can make. We still have choices. It feels like sometimes we don't, but we still have choices and things we can do. So.
That's right. Very beautiful. Thank you, Sue Beth. Lynn Vitti. You're a busy woman. I am so happy you made it tonight.
Yeah, I keep trying to show up, and then something happens that I have to go do. So, but I'm here, so this is good. And it's good to see some familiar faces and some new ones. So I'm going to read sort of a long poem, but I think it's under 4 minutes. It's called Recovery Effort. We sit under a market umbrella, eating lunch. My husband listens between bites of his breakfast burrito. My childhood friend has spent these past decades doing good work for universal health care, workers' rights. His path went in one direction, mine in another. No intersection of our lives after that summer, after high school, when there were parties, one on a farm with a pond. He drove his older brother's Chevy, midnight blue. I spent my summer working at my father's bar, picking up condiments, driving to SK for boxes of hamburgers, 4 dozen at a time, chopping celery and onions for soup, scraping down the hot point grill. My friend and I slide back, talking of our shared past. We were teenagers, thinking we could change the world by reading, tutoring, protesting, by dismantling the system, stopping the military-industrial complex. It was all too much for me. I retreated into Shakespeare, into Chaucer. I went deep into the library stacks and lyric poetry, into King Lear. I watched those who joined sit-ins in academic buildings beaten, arrested. Some became more radical. Some became organic farmers in Vermont or Northern California. Some built bombs, went underground. Some taught math, raised cattle. My friend finishes his salad. I noticed the chicken breast with pesto is gone. His plate entirely clean. I've hardly eaten. We've barely begun to mine the data of our separate pasts. When we sat, an overwhelming task, we must pick up where we left off. When we sat on the granite stairs across from the sundial, he was on his way to Chicago, in New York for a night. He unfurled himself on the stairs, leaned back on one elbow, spoke of an ebullient, sexy charmer who strewed her attentions among so many. He felt was to pursue. Harry moved to Philly. I finished my thesis, married too, had sons, lost parents. Middle age came faster than a question hangs in the morning air. Who knows who made a mark of each other in youth, did music, folks argued about religion, ethics, debated the meaning of life, the existence of God, rock and roll. Two whose lives intersected briefly when 2 years was a lifetime for us then. Go back and exhume what was then. Can the friendship be resurrected? Life breathe back into it? Or is it frozen in time like a woolly mammoth, preserved in ice, but dead was dead? Thank you.
That was wow, Lynn. That was beautiful. Wonderful. How wonderful to have some, recovering memories through reminiscing with a friend that you haven't seen for a long time. It was interesting, and it actually paralleled something that's happened in my life. So I hope you get to meet up again too.
We actually have been meeting up over this poem is about 7 years old, and we actually seem to have recovered the friendship.
That's so awesome.
Long walks on the Cape in summer, and much discussion about children, his grandchildren. Yeah, it's been an interesting recovery of a friendship.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for that beautiful poem.
Thank you.
And now, Jackson, here's our dynamic duo. Jackson Gilman and Galen Brandt have something for us today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Hello. Donna, yes, I too am going to offer a tribute to a dear friend because I have found that recovery from grief can be particularly difficult. About 10 years ago, my dear friend Kelsey Ramage was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had met Kelsey in the Threshold Choir, which is a wonderful group of women who sing at the bedsides of those who are dying. I had joined, and at my first rehearsal, I just happened to be seated next to Kelsey. And when our eyes first met, her heart was so present in her eyes that my eyes filled with tears, and so did hers. In fact, Kelsey was one of the most present human beings I have ever met in every way. She was physically very large, and she wore vibrant clothing. And her smile really did fill the room. She was extraordinarily competent. She managed the biggest and most beloved bookstore in town, and she fostered children and animals and birds. She had a beautiful garden. She tended every plant with such love. She had a wonderful marriage to a wife who was, like Kelsey, a splendid human being. She was so emotionally present for everyone she met. She was so here. And at the same time, Kelsey had a foot in the celestial because she was a phenomenal astrologer. And there was nothing woo-woo about her insights and predictions. In fact, everything she said to any of us turned out to be revelatory and completely true. So it was unthinkable that Kelsey would somehow not be here among us. But Kelsey didn't get better. In fact, Kelsey began dying. And she wanted to die at home. And so groups of us women in the Threshold Choir began to go to Kelsey's bedside at her home and sing those threshold songs to her that we had sung with her at so many bedsides for so many years. And then there came a day when Kelsey's wife said to us, please don't come today. Almost surely Kelsey will die tonight. And so instead, a group of us gathered at the home of one of us who lived just a few blocks from Kelsey's. And we sat in a circle around a candle and we held vigil for Kelsey. We sang our threshold songs. We shared our loving memories. And then we felt strangely silent, and suddenly the candle just flared up, its light so bright. And in that silence, we heard the unmistakable call of a mourning dove outside the window. And it called again and again. And we went to look out that window. And in that dark sky, the full moon was rising over what we knew was Kelsey's house. And we knew she was telling us that she was more present, more with us than ever in the light of that candle, in the light of our hearts and songs and memories, and that she was present in the light. She was rising with that moon. She was going back to it all, from somewhere to everywhere. And yes, this was comforting to us, but still, I missed Kelsey. I missed her eyes. I was grieving. And about a week after her death, I happened to be standing with another dear friend under a night sky, outside, a night sky blazing with stars. And I shared with him my story of Kelsey and her death and my grieving. And he said something to me that so inspired me that I wrote a song for Kelsey, which I'm going to share with you now. And I'm going to invite my dear friend Jackson Gilman to share the screen with me. Because as I sing my song for you, Jackson is going to physically interpret it for you. And you know, my friends, if you were to go outside tonight and look up at the sky, you might find it blazing with stars. Well, here's what my friend said to me that night 10 years ago. He said, you know, science would tell us that the light from those stars takes so long to reach our eyes that in fact, those stars are no longer there. And yet, their light remains. I look in the sky, so clear, that star is no longer here. Yet see how it shines, my dear, for its light remains. And then I look in my heart, so blue, and smiling remember you. For I know it is all so true that your light remains. The light of the love you gave, the light of your smiling face, the light that outshines the grave, the light that is every place, the light of your shining eyes, the light of your loving heart, so bright that I realize, dear one, we can never part. I look in the sky tonight, and that star should be gone from sight. Yet here it is, shining bright, for its light remains. And though you are gone from view, tonight I am seeing you. For ours is a love so true that its light remains. Yes, the light remains. Yes, your light remains.
Yay. Oh, yay. That was so wonderful. Oh, both of you so full of light and song and feeling and body and expression. Just so wonderful. What a lovely tribute to Kelsey. And she heard you. I'm sure she did. I'm
Yeah.
sure she did.
Did.
Oh, gorgeous. I just love it when you two work together.
Thank you. It's a joy, actually, for us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You.
Wow. Huh. Transported is what they call it. Well, right now we're going to do something a little bit different. Donna Hammer is a local singer, musician. She's been performing around the Cape for quite a long while. And she wasn't able to come tonight, but she did send a short video of something that she created. And we're going to share it and enjoy it together right now. So, Tony, we're ready whenever you are.
Hi everyone! Sorry I can't be with you on Zoom. I hope you like this song. I wrote it a long time ago. It's called The Codependent Blues. I'm so codependent with you. I get high whenever you're blue. You're so weak and I'm so strong. I just know that we belong. Oh, I'm so codependent with you. You're so codependent with me. You think you can get everything for free. So have no worries, have no doubts. You know I'm gonna bail you out. Oh, you're so codependent with me. We're so codependent together. We love to create turbulent weather. trigger me and I trigger you. We both get hurt before we're through. Oh, we're so codependent together. We need to learn to relate. We need to learn to communicate. We need to learn to be strong on our own. 'Cause I can't help you at all. You're just gonna make me fall into that sea of misery, my friend. Oh, no more codependency. Interdependence is the key. You take care of you, I'll take care of me. Let go, let God, and let it be. Oh, no more codependency. Yeehaw! All right, take care, everybody. Keep in balance.
All
See you later.
righty. Thanks, Donna. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a great time doing it. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you. And now, John Jackson, I know you were talking on Facebook about your huge backload of limericks for us.
I don't recall having talked about that specifically on Facebook, but you've read everything there. So, and the one good piece that I'm actually saving for next month when we're in the same room together. My name's John Jackson. My shtick is limericks of protest, and so I had the unpleasant chore this morning of going through 3 months of limericks to find what is still worthy. And I think I've got too many, so we'll just skip a few. Florida's governor would like to explain. Russia once included Ukraine. Well, that much is true, but what will he do when Florida's retaken by Spain? A school board that suddenly fires art teachers teaching art requires Michelangelo's David seen as depraved, viewed by erection deniers. Going to school to play Rambo with AR-15 dressed in camo. Many lives are we owed to no need to reload and an overabundance of ammo. A US intelligence leak has the Pentagon in a peak, but no one is trying to deny US spying. They're listening to us even as we speak. Faced with jury, anyone balks. A settlement for dominion by Fox. And I do not care what they say on the air. You know what they say, money talks. In Florida, only attitudes froze. Your gender's what your parents chose. And any regalia hides cisgenitalia, so the next step is banishing clothes. Every minute is born a new sucker. Fox News parting way with old Tucker. Was he fired or retire? Can't say who's a liar. And what's a good third rhyme for Tucker? Wake up, America, often spoke by conservatives unaware of the joke. They want to be keeping Americans from sleeping, but hate anyone who is woke. The cathedral and the coronation thing, the empire has crowned a new king. What a way to begin, not simply sworn in, but glamorous. God save the bling. Every few years comes the chore to legalize borrowing more. If it's so unappealing to raise the debt ceiling, why don't we just lower the floor? People I know didn't like CNN giving Trump an open mic. Giving time to his cult is perhaps the result of the Hollywood writers' strike. American-born white and male, no privilege does this entail. No cause to be proud, I'm just one of the crowd. Can't bear children, my complexion is pale. And on a personal note, We flew out to see Mommy dear and brought back a small souvenir. Maybe not what you think. We're both in the pink. With a COVID test, that's not good, I hear. As I was saying before the introduction, 3 years ago, Poetic license in May of 2020, I did half of my shtick was lyrics of COVID, so limericks of COVID. So I'm finishing up with that. But on the other hand, hopefully I'll be healthy and non-contagious by June. Thank you.
Always leave and laugh 'em, John.
I just got a chat message from someone who said each one gets better. I've outdone myself. That's because I separated the wheat from the chaff, and oh boy, was the chaff chaffy. There's a whole number of things I didn't even mention because they were either just not good enough or not fit for mixed company.
I hear you. I especially like the Tucker one. I was nervous when you started saying it, but you pulled it off. Thank you so much for always making us smile.
You're welcome.
And Maria Silverman.
Hi. So I had an interesting experience when I started looking back through my poems. I usually go through things I've written since 2020, and I was looking for any definition of recovery, whether it be in the retrieval of something or in getting over something, and there was very little to fit that bill. I discovered I'd mostly been writing about grief and trauma and loss, although a lot of them are memory things. And it was interesting to think about reclaiming memory as an act of recovery. But this is what I found that was closest to our subject matter. And it's something I wrote a year ago. And I usually don't write footnotes into my poetry book, but I am in a poetry circle that meets with just 3 other women, and no one wanted to meet on this particular night. And what I had written was, everyone bowed out, potluck, work, meetings, just me and my pen. So out came this, and it's called Words. There's no one here, but it's always been just you and me, hasn't it? You are always here. I can't remember my first word, and there's no one left to recall it. But my father told me I used to run down the hall announcing my own name. Ria, 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 Ria. You allowed me to hear myself. I followed you into other languages, sliding into the slippery sultriness of French and brushing the beautiful characters of Chinese. I made you my own, mim, Greeks, do, leaping into lexicon, like scattered pickup sticks waiting to be collected, or old roses busting out of a fence, a starfish clinging to seaweed, or covers that warm cold feet, like the eruption of light in the sky, consonants exploding, the cooing of vowels like a lake lapping, slapping up against me in the early hours. Like jewels I push into holes in my ears, a delicate spray set in my hair, heirlooms saved in a box, fragrant oils stirred into a bath, buying bushels of you at the farmer's market to taste, the ripe juice spilling down my chin and onto my fingers, the rhythm of my pen on lined paper riding up and down over your curves, scratching the surface, eliding letters together too full to file them into an order, just spilling, leaving a mess indiscernible, not able to be cleared up, a stain of thoughts, a wound of feelings. I've been making love to you my whole life, turning you over and over in my hand, my head, how you catch the light, the curve of your hip, how you capture sound, you sing and ring, winding around me. I don't make you carefully, cracking you into the pan, yolk running, overcook you, eat you burnt, scalded, underripe, generic, overpriced. I'll take you any way I can get you. You are more constant than the moon, always here, waiting, my closest friend. I can lean on, confess to, marry over and over. You never fail to appear. I've never seen a sheet empty of you. I cut you open, unpeel you, press you, dry you, squeeze you, lick you, devour you, paint you, photograph you, cling to you, climb you, call you, bury you, choke on you, drown in you, inhaling, aspirate you, swallowing you into the breath of me, swimming towards you in the dark. If all else fades, you are here, my hand in your hand, to make me known, to know you, holding you in my sleep.
Wow. As Eliza Doolittle would have said, words, words, words. It is so evident how much you love words. You are in love with lexicon. That was so gorgeous. And it just unwound and unwound and unwound. You know, your voice was a spiral as you were reading the poem. I just really enjoyed that. Wow. I wish I could see it in print, Maria.
Me too.
Well, you know what I mean.
It looks like this.
Wonderful. Thank you. Rosemary Dunn-Moeller, how you doing? Are you muted?
Unmute. Am I unmuted?
Now you're unmuted. Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I did differently. Would you like me to just start?
Well, we're so happy
Feel-
to see you, my friend.
I am too. I am so happy to see you well, and you look healthy and you look strong and good. And it's really great to see you, Donna, and everyone else. I really am happy to be here. So, hi, Patricia. I am Rosemary Dunn-Moeller. And when I saw the theme, I immediately went, Red Wolf Recovery. I remember when I wrote that poem, and it was because red wolves were coming back through a program. And I was really happy. This is show and tell. That mother and cub there of a red wolf. And I wrote a prayer called Prayer for Red Wolf Recovery. Let us pray for changes. Parent of all living beings, we're on the same path as predators, carnivores, jealous killers, hunters who want blood on fur after tracking, cornering, eradicating, or satisfying hunger. We fear competitors for wild hogs, longhorn sheep, cottontail rabbits. Other meat eaters get in our way. We want that game taste with our barbecue. Same as the red wolves. We need to value the hunt, which is thrilling, but exchange bullets for pixels of photos, guns for cameras, plein air art and notepads. It could be enough to be so close, so stealthy, so knowledgeable that we can focus on their russet fur, little legs, intense eyes with long distance lens instead of scope. Let us pray for survival of life that fits into healthy habitat. Let us pray for Canis rufus, beautiful killer of small game, and let us pray for ourselves. This is definitely the show and tell section. The other thing that recovery made me think of was I'm in the middle of the prairie at the moment, which recovers itself every season. And one of the paintings that I have loved since childhood is this one, Christina's World. Partly because she was blind. She never saw. And yet being out here on the prairie, so much richer than this, like everybody says, what's out there? It's empty. It is so sensually full. And that's what I wrote about. To Hear the Wind, Christina's World by Andrew Wyeth. Only being ground close reveals mixtures of grasses, named and identified by agrarians, botanists. Autumn touch of drying differs from summer softness of stems, fragility of seeds forming. Smells on the wind from harvested crops mixed with pastures like dried fruit in green salads, sweet and savory. Winds percuss house and barn differently than brushing across grain fields. There's creaking of wooden slats with the occasional scream of nails loosening around doors that slap the jambs. It's audible. And thin, long-limbed Christina, belted with white socks, shod, hair mostly tied back, is there, as close to the ground as the foundation of weathered walls and floors of house and barns. She came downhill along the wagon ruts, neither deep nor worn, along the fence line where taller grasses rest against wire and posts. Christina knows her world intimately, with clarity like sunshine on her dress that also warms the front of the house. This is belonging to the land, the solid as deep roots of sweetgrass, as tenacious as the clawed seeds of thistle. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, Rosemary, heavenly, heavenly. Inspired by one of my favorite artists, Andrew Wyeth, Christina's World. But for you to be writing about the painting, it was just layer on top of layer on top of layer of understanding. It speaks to me how much you love the prairie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with prairie, but you certainly have made me a devotee at this point. I would love to. And the red wolf, aren't they gorgeous?
They are, they're beautiful. And I know, being a carnivore myself, I have always been attracted and identified with all these animals that prey on other animals. And I know for some people but again, maybe that's part of spending half my life on the prairie. It's part of it. And I love them. And I want them to flourish and be a part of the life. And so,
Well, the whole idea of its changing scopes for lenses
yeah,
was perfect. Absolutely
I
perfect.
hope so.
So
Thank you very, very much.
thanks, darling. Wayne Stuke, have you got your guitar? You do.
Let's see, am I muted or unmuted?
You are unmuted and we can hear you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I wrote this song over a month and a half ago, and then I went to Florida for a couple of weeks. And when I got back here May 3rd, 2 days later, I got COVID for the next 14 days till last Thursday. And it wasn't that bad. It's just that it leaves you with an annoying tickle in your throat. And that can kind of go on, I hope, not very much longer. I'm getting a little tired of it. So I tested myself out at Shiverix last night playing a little guitar downtown, and I didn't choke. So let's hope I don't choke tonight. Wish me luck here. So it has the this song has the very innovative title "Recovery," but it's not about me. The old girl looks tired today. She's almost 250 years old. Or so the white man's version of the story has often been told. She suffers from poverty, discrimination and hate. She'll survive, well, if her children speak out and act more bold. While always threatened by other nuclear nations, spewing hate. But at home we can't respect and help each other. The old girl might find an expiration date. Just turn on the TV. Always more horrible national news. Our own leaders will only talk to others that share their personal views. Yeah, the old girl looks tired today. Almost 250 years old. She suffers from poverty, discrimination, and hate. To survive, sure, children's gonna speak out and act more bold. Some of our leaders tell people what to believe and how to give and live. Less choice, less books, less personal decisions, but plenty more weapons to give. Our children keep dying. We keep praying that some mentally ill shooter will let us all live. She is suffering from poverty, discrimination and hate. Her children need to speak out before it's too late. So we pray for this old girl and our families that one day we'll have to leave behind. Tell them no matter what skin color, faith, or lifestyle, always remember to be kind. So that old girl found it under some universal God. Let's help her recover, 'cause that's the lesson I think she really had in mind. Thank you. Thank you.
That was lovely. Wayne, at the very end, your voice went very deep, and that's your gold spot.
Thanks.
That's your gold spot. You need to use that more. It's so rich. It is, your voice is so rich.
Thank you.
250 years, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Thank
Well,
you.
that's white man's idea of what America is. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I threw that in there right away because I thought we're leaving out Native Americans who were here long before us and had a system of government and had a way of prizing everybody. And if you were retarded or different, you had a great spirit in you and you were revered by the culture, not shamed. And I thought I just, would throw that right out there in the beginning. And the rest of it's pretty much just you feel beaten down looking at the news every night or reading it every day. And with COVID, I guess I was reading way too much and looking at much too much. And it's, we're in trouble, so.
Wow. You said things that needed to be said, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my. Well, we're at the end of the evening here. It sort of snuck up on me. I was so involved with what everybody was saying and doing. I'm going to close with a poem that just wanted to say that recovery from an unhappy situation can happen when you make the decision to turn unhappiness into joy. And this is from my music themed poems. It's called Jammin' at the East Bay Lodge, which was a faux fun place to go to years ago. It's been closed for years, but I used to sing there. And this is about one night in particular. Jammin' at the East Bay Lodge. On a stormy, patronless evening, the leaky roof sends diamond drops of water in a conga line down electrical cords. Like an aging heiress, the restaurant is draped in bronze velvet, curtains darkened by decades of cigarette smoke. Lights low, faux ambience hides the dirt. The manager, an impotent potentate, growls orders before sneaking off to his office with the blonde hostess. The bully bartender demands the same wretched song all night long. Enslaved by the pay, our young band grows restless. Musicians, hands snug in black tuxes, me in a tight twilight cocktail dress, break into a lightning version of Just One of Those Things. The piano man punctuates with his foot on the ivories. The bassist slings his instrument over his leg to strum it like a brass banjo. The drummer keeps time with silverware. And I'm laughing so hard, my lyrics become scattered rasps between gasps for air. We are effervescent, joy jamming, painting giddy rainbows on champagne bubbles. And that was my most memorable night at the East Bay Lodge. All right. Oh, friends, what a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you so much. This edited performance will be shown on FCTV's Channel 13, its YouTube channel, as well as Roku and Apple TV. Friends watching out there, if you would like to be a performer, please reach out and join us. We will welcome you with open arms and open ears. You can sign up by sending a text to Tony. His email is tony@fctv.org. Of course, I mentioned it before, but the exciting news is that our next Poetic license will be returning to the FCTV studio on the fourth Thursday in June, June 22nd. And the theme for June will be soaring. Soaring. Like the phoenix rising from the ashes of the pandemic isolation, we have persevered as we return to perform face to face. If you want to be in the live audience, please join us that evening at 7 o'clock. Thank you again, Tony, for your wonderful help. Thank you, cherished performers. We love you for having the courage to create and share your beautiful talents with us. So, friends, until we meet again, wherever we meet again, peace and shine on.